Well, that escalated very quickly. My name is Nick, and today we are talking about Bitcoin. We're going to jump into the charts on the hourly, the daily, and the weekly time frame. Take a look at what happened and what I think this means going further forward for BTC. As I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, and you'll stay up to date with all the video content that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? Check it out. Link is down in the description below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. So why not go ahead and check it out? Let's jump right down into today's video. Let's waste no more time. Let's jump right into the hourly chart here for BTC. So here we have BTC paired up with USDT. We're using the 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘 exchange, and here you can see we had this big move to the upside at 6 a.m. this morning. Now, I actually entered into a short position yesterday. Again, good risk management with this. So essentially, we're over here around 8 o'clock last night, UTC +1, and we're looking at staying below the 200 EMA. So we put in a short position with the stop loss just above the swing high of our wave 4 positioning over the left here, and just above the 200 EMA. If this is played out as a risk reward ratio of 4.56, down towards $26,400. Obviously, this got invalidated, or kind of got liquidated, I should say, and we had this interesting move to the upside. Okay, our structure on our hourly chart has, of course, changed quite a bit. So let's jump into this, right? So we were looking at this hourly move to break us down into this low range. This is no longer a valid move, and instead we have to look at this as just a 3-wave move to the downside here. So I'm going to go ahead and tidy this out now. So we had that breakout situation occur. Okay, that essentially has meant that we are, no longer looking at this $26,400 target range. Okay, so let me show you what this actually looks like now. Okay, so if I grab hold of this, we can see that we have a 3-wave pattern instead. It comes on down here, and then we're coming back up. Now, this doesn't change our daily view just yet. Okay, obviously we'll talk about that in a moment, but for our hourly chart here, what does this look like? Well, it looks like a very similar setup as to kind of what we're looking at to the downside. We're not impulsive going up. We want to be very clear about that, but we have hit the 1.618 target range. This essentially means that we are more likely to be doing a flat correction, 335 correction, rather than an impulsive one. We do not have the correct wave counts over this side to lead us into that 1.618 impulsive trigger point. Okay, so just to kind of give you an idea here, when you have a 5-wave impulsive movement like this, each of these waves 1, 3, and 5 must contain a 5-wave structure. Okay, there's lots of different types of 5-wave structures. I say lots, there's a handful of different 5-wave structures, specifically for the waves 1 and wave 5 situations, right? But typically, what you're always going to see is going to be a 5, 3 down, 5 up, 3 down, 5 up, right? And so when we take a look at this, do we see a 5-wave structure here? No, we don't. There's a few different ways that we might try to make that fit. And I've looked and I said, okay, are we in a 5-wave move to the upside here? Can we kind of make it fit? And I was looking at this, I'll say, okay, well, what if we went wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5? What about that? Well, there's a couple of scenarios here that might work, and then we have to kind of apply the rules, right? So we'd think, okay, is it an expanding diagonal that leading us into this? Let's take a look at that. Unfortunately not, because wave 3 cannot be the shortest wave, and in this particular case here, wave 3 would be the shortest wave, and so that's not a valid movement. You're not allowed to do that. So we know it's not a diagonal in either a contracting or an expanding. It's also not a leading diagonal because it doesn't have wave 3 hitting 1.618 times of wave 1, and so it doesn't fit the diagonal movements. It doesn't fit a wave 1 situation, which basically means it has to either be a W wave or an A wave, right? So could be W, X, and Y, okay, or it can be an A, B, and C, right? So those situations. Now, if we actually take a look at this, we would say, okay, well, actually, yeah, it's a 3-wave pattern right inside here. We move down, and then we start to correct on up again, okay? Now, this move to the upside here is of interest to me because it obviously is very impulsive in the way that it went, right? But again, it doesn't have that internal workings at this lower end to give us the idea that we have that impulsion behind it. It's clearly impulsive on this one particular candle here, and so we look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and then 5 up. To me, it looks like we are still actually pushing up higher. I don't think we're necessarily done just yet. And I think we are a 335 correction. So let me show you, right? A 335 correction would essentially be a 3-wave move upwards, a 3-wave move downwards, and then a 5-wave impulsive ending point. Okay. And it would look like this. Okay. Very big wave kind of 3 like that. Okay. So it would be a 335. And again, when it comes to these things, you'd probably find that this should stay within the parameters, but it's not a guarantee that it does. Just typically it would kind of land up in this 1 to the 1.236 area. But in this particular case, it's actually overextended all of that. Okay, so again, we're not impulsive. We're not trending to the upside here from an Elliott wave theory point of view, but we are impulsive at this very last section. So when I take a look at this, I say, okay, we probably have one more last kind of push upwards before we collapse on down. But I'll take it into a 5-minute chart here, and we can see actually, you know, that may not even be the case either, as we do see this kind of tailing off quite a bit here. I keep a close eye on it, but ultimately that's what I think is going on. Now, when I take this out into the daily time frame, we can see that now we have to consider our 5th wave movement a diagonal. Okay, so we have a 3-wave movement here. Okay, we have this 3-wave correction going up, the 335 that we can see on our hourly chart, and then we're going to be looking for another 3-wave move to the downside, and I think we're going to see a pretty significant one. Then this will tie us up into another 3-wave move, okay, to the upside, followed by another 3-wave move to the downside. Now, this may fall short of our target range between $22,000 and $23,000, but this will be a diagonal movement. Now, again, there's different types of diagonals. We could be looking at contracting, we could be looking at ending diagonals, and so forth. So we'll keep a close eye on that, but we are looking still, because we haven't had that breakout situation, we are still looking for $22,000 to $23,000. It may be a double bottom. Minimum expectation would be a double bottom at $24,635,000. So we'll keep a close eye on that. But the breakout situation, as in if we want Bitcoin to break out of this bearish pattern that it finds itself in, then we must be hitting above 28,588, which we haven't yet done. We are close to overbought on the hourly chart. We're overbought on the 4-hour chart. We're overbought on the 8-hour chart, and we're progressing upwards pretty sharply here on the daily chart as well. Okay, so I'm a little bit cautious when it comes to where we currently find ourselves. You can see here that if I draw a trend line on our stochastic RSIs, if we actually go up and tap into this trend line, it could be a resistance, and we might see momentum shifting back down there. So going to keep a close eye on it. We're almost up at equilibrium. This is the area of upper resistance, this being a wave 2. So if we have this as a wave 1, this is our wave 2. We'll drop into a wave 3, 4, and 5 under the diagonal expectations. Then, yeah, we're going to be looking for a pretty nasty rejection. So this could be a bit of a short squeeze. We see the move up, basically liquidate all the short positions, and then we drop on down. Okay, so I'm going to be keeping a close eye on it. I may enter into another short as price kind of taps into equilibrium here, using the swing high and basically 28,588 or higher as my stop loss, with profit being down at the double bottom 24,635. It might take quite some time to play out because it is a daily time frame trade, but those are going to be my thoughts. So I'll obviously discuss more with our traders down in our Discord whether or not that's something that I personally do. Of course, you know, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't give financial advice. It's just how I look at the market and how I am going to be looking at trading the space. Now, if I take this out into the weekly chart, we can see here that we had the higher highs and higher lows. And for the to all intensive purposes, I think, yeah, we basically are just bouncing here at this range. So again, we can kind of see, I'm not drawing this perfectly on there, but you can kind of see high highs, high lows, and we just tested the lows and we're bouncing a little bit. My expectation is that this will break on down, and we will see the breakdown down from here. Once we break out of this channel, chances are we are going to be looking at testing the 50 EMA, the 200 EMA and the 50 SMA. So we are talking about 25,000 to 24,840 in that range. That's going to be where the supports are likely to be. So just keep a close eye on that. We also could look at this through the head and shoulder pattern in here as well. Not sure if this is actually working or not. For some reason, it is not working. Let me see if I can actually... No, okay, try that again. Nope, not working. Okay, fair enough. You can see a head and shoulder pattern here. If I draw this in, nothing is drawing on my weekly chart, which is very frustrating. How peculiar is that? Okay, not to worry, but you can see here is a left shoulder, down, head, and there you go. Now it's updated. It was not updating. There we go. Let's try that again, shall we? So if I take the head and shoulder pattern here, we can see we'd have the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, and you come down and we could potentially break that. So we want to be a little bit aware that there's lots of different ways of looking at the market here. Lots of different ways we can kind of analyze it and so forth, but that's an idea that we can see a shoulder forming. It wasn't exactly perfectly drawn there, but if I draw it on a little bit neater, you can see that we have it's probably have to be down here, up here, and then down here. And if I adjust, there we go. So you can see your head and shoulder pattern playing out. And if we do get this rejection and we do test this 200 EMA and lose it, then that is going to basically be the neckline where we lose that. We go down deeper, heading down into that kind of daily $22,000 to $23,000 target range. Okay, so there's lots of kind of things to be thinking about when it comes to Bitcoin's price action. A little bit unfortunate with my short that I did yesterday, but again, that's the point of having really good, strict risk management, making sure you have good, tight stop losses, and not putting yourself in a vulnerable position and just kind of, throw money at the market randomly. There was good logical approach to the market, got stopped out. It is part of the game, and we'll just kind of dust off and carry on. So if you did find this video useful, informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, we will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.